everyone. It's Grace here. I'm not sure if we're on yet. I see a little scroll. Okay, maybe we are live now. Okay. Hi everyone. Grace here from Lives Perceptions, and thank you so much for joining me today. Um, this is our first live Facebook Live broadcast, and we're excited to be hosting this. It's something we've been thinking about doing for a while now, and we decided, okay, we'll just do this. It gives us an opportunity to be able to connect with our followers live. So, as I mentioned in the preview announcement that we sent out earlier in the week, um, we thought we'd get together and do a few things. I've got a list of things here, so I will be checking my notes. I just want to make sure I don't forget to tell you about anything. Um, I thought what we would do today is to maybe do a few readings on some current events going on. There is so much going on in the world right now, politically, health wise, and these turbulent COVID days, just so much. So, thought I'd take a few questions that we've received and read on those events. And then I thought if we had some questions from our viewers out there today, I would be happy to do a few live readings, short live readings, and throw down a few cards for you for any of your questions. So we can do that. If we have any questions, I'll take a look to see if we get anything up here. Let me just look at this, see if this is. Let's see. Okay, I think that's on. I think that's on. Still finding my way around this, so you'll pardon me if I look to be a little novice on Facebook Live. It's because I am. Um, and then I thought we would end with giving you a channeled message from Spirit that I received for you. So that's what I thought we'd do. Okay, well, let's get started. Let's see. I think what one of the questions that came up that wanted to take a look at is that might be of interest to everybody is about the vaccine. A lot of talk in the news about the vaccine and when we're going to get it and will it be okay and all of that. So I thought maybe I'd read on whether or not we would hear of a vaccine prior to the election, if there is a vaccine that will be ready to go, if we'll hear about that before, if one will be ready to go before the election. We'll get news on that. So, well, you know what? Before we do that, let me just back up a little bit and tell you a little bit about me and how I read. When I read, I use a number of intuitive tools. One of which is Tarot, and I'll be working with Tarot today. Tarot is a wonderful intuitive tool for being able to read energy of a situation, to take a look at the energy in the past and what's going on right now and where that energy feels like it's going. So that's one of the tools that I use and I'll be using today. Other intuitive tools that I use are my own internal intuitive tools, and so I will listen for or take in information from Spirit. And this could come in the way of what I might hear, what I might feel and sense, um, sometimes what I might see. Um, so, so those are some of the tools that I use in my reading process. Um, I I use Tarot as a bit of a signpost tool. Um, Let me just make this analogy. If you are driving in a car, you're out on the road and you're driving in a car, you have to know how to drive. You get in the car and you have to know how to drive. But as you're driving, you might see, you will see things like stop signs, stop lights, caution signs, all kind of road signs out there, that you have to pay attention to, that are giving you information on how to drive and drive safely. So that's how I work with tarot. I will use my internal intuitive tools to get the information, and I use tarot as signposts on where this is going. Um, so that's a little bit about how I read, how I use tarot. Um, I do have a more detailed process, and if anyone is interested in that or wanting to know more about uh, my process for reading, particularly if you're looking to get an individual reading from me, I will leave in the comments below a link to a short video on my reading process, so you'll learn a little bit more about that if you like. So that's a little bit about me. So let's get started on a current event reading, and we were going to look at the vaccine, and if we'll hear of a vaccine, or about a vaccine being available, if we'll hear about that prior to the election, because on a political level, you hear of all kinds of things saying that, oh yeah, it's right around the corner and all. So let's take a look at that. Let's just see if we will be hearing about a vaccine prior to the election. So let me just get these a little shuffle. Okay, let me just get a feel for this. Okay, let's see. Okay. I will show you the cards that I pulled, but I just need to, and this is also part of my process of reading, I just need to be with the energy of these cards for a little bit here to be able to get what I get. Okay. So give me a second. Okay. All right, so let me go through these cards one by one for you. The first card I got, and it's a card that talks about where this is coming from. So the first card that I got, let's see if I can do this so that you can see it, is the, let me see. Okay, I think you can see that. It's the Four of Coins, or the Four of Pentacles in this deck. that I'm using today, which is the Golden Tarot. It's the Four of Coins, and the energy of this card. What this says to me is that this is coming from a place of everybody really holding the information. There's a lot that's going on around this vaccine, as you can imagine. But it feels like everybody is just really holding on to the information and, for various reasons, multiple agendas. Um, and not wanting to really say too much about what's going on. And part of that is because it's still, it's still being worked on. And so, you've got scientists and all that don't want to give out false hope and yet don't want to be pessimistic because they're working their hearts out. But everybody's keeping this information pretty close to the vest right now. Where this is going, this is the Ace of Wands. The next card is the Ace of Wands. And so what this is telling me is that there's a lot that's going on. There's a lot of very positive findings and discoveries, and the process, while it's still at the beginning stages, it's looking good. Things are moving. Things are, they're on the right track. So that's where it's going. The next card that I picked up is the Five of Swords. So, sorry, I'm moving around. I'm still finding my way on this screen. The next card is the Five of Swords. And what this is telling me is where this is going. This is a card, the energy of this card is about winning at all costs. So what this is telling me is that there is a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on the scientific community, on politicians, on, the timing of this. And the pressure is not good. The pressure is about, wanting to get this out at all costs, regardless of the consequences, which is not a good thing. But that's where the pressure on this. It's about, just get something out and get it out now. And it's never a good way to go. Okay. So at the root of all of this, at the core of this reading, of this information, the card that shows up for that is the Seven of Swords. And what that's telling me is that the motives, the rushing, the getting this out, but there's a big piece of this that's being done in a not above board, not right way. Hopefully the science will prevail, and things will get out the way it's supposed to be, but there is an energy of just getting it out regardless of whether or not it's done right, and that's playing out in this situation. The result of this reading, the outcome of this reading, is the Four of Swords. And so what this says to me is that we're not going to hear before the election about a good vaccine. About there may be word that gets out that's, oh yes, we have something, but the scientific community as a whole in putting out something that they have confidence in, that is substantial, that they're ready to go to bat with, is not going to be before the election. We're still going to be battling. People are still going to be sick, and we're still going to be battling with this prior to the election. So, down the road perhaps, but prior to the election, something that is real, that's substantial, that's not made up, not going to happen before the election. Okay, so that's the first. Our first little reading. Let's see. What else did I have here for current events? Okay. Let's take a look at Michael Flynn. So I don't know if you'll remember, if you're aware of Michael Flynn. And let's see, I think I've got some chat stuff going on here. Let me just look at that and see. Okay. As I said, I'm still finding my way around this. Okay. All right. So, Michael Flynn. So, Michael Flynn is one of the people that that had pleaded guilty to lying to Congress, lying to the FBI, was tried, was found guilty, was getting ready to go into the sentencing stage, and then the DOJ under Bill Barr decided, you know what? You don't need to sentence because we're going to dismiss this. We're just going to drop it. It's not that big of a deal. The judge who's presiding over this case said, not so fast. No, we're gonna take a look at this, and I want to know more about what went on with this decision. And so the DOJ said, no, we're dropping this, and took it to the courts. And several of the courts have come back and said, not so fast. No. It needs to be looked at by the judge who is handling this, and he'll decide where this goes. So they've lost a couple of cases. They're still fighting. Who knows whether or not they'll take it to the Supreme Court. But so what I wanted to ask was whether this case will be allowed to proceed to sentencing. So let's take a look at that. Okay. Let's look at Michael Flynn's case and whether it's going to continue on and to go to sentencing. Okay. Case. Proceed. Will it go to sentencing? Okay. All right. Okay. Let me just be with this for a second. All right, so the first card that comes up as to where this is coming from, the energy of where this is coming from, is the Knight of Swords. And so what this is saying to me is that the energy of this card, when I look at this, most of the time, the energy of this card feels to me like you're about to be hit with the brutal truth. The truth is coming, and it's going to be in your face. So that's where this situation is coming from. The truth, the brutal truth, is about to come forward. Where this is going, the next card that comes up is the Six of Coins. And the Six of Coins can be about giving and receiving. And where it's at here and how this feels to me is like that Michael Flynn, or this case, is about to be receiving the verdict soon of this. And it feels very, it feels like justice. Justice is coming. The next card that comes up of where this is going is the Lover's card. And the Lover's card is about partnerships. It's about cooperation. It's about coming together. And so what this feels to me is that, you know, as I mentioned, several courts have come together and said, nope, this has to proceed. And this is telling me that even if they bring it to the Supreme Court, that the Supreme Court is going to say this has to proceed. All the lower courts have agreed that this should proceed, and it feels to me that if they bring this to the Supreme Court, which they're more than likely to do, that they will concur and be in agreement, be in partnership with the lower courts. At the core of all of this, of the reading, is the Death card. And for those of you not as familiar with Tarot, the Death card, 99% of the time, does not mean physical death. It's usually about an ending, a transition, something coming to an end. And it's so at the core, the energy that's at the core of this reading, it says to me that this is about, that this case is about to come to an end. Not only is the case coming to an end, but it feels like this is not going to be a good outcome for Michael Flynn. It feels like this is the final thing that he will exhaust, the final option that he can exhaust, because he's at the sentencing stage. So he's already, that train has left the station. It's just now about the sentencing. So this is about this will be coming to an end. And then the outcome card that I have here is the Chariot. And so the question was, will this case proceed and will Michael Flynn be sentenced? The Chariot card is about moving forward. So the outcome of this being the Chariot card, this says to me, yes, it will proceed. They may go to the Supreme Court. They may have a few courts that they go to. But again, the courts are going to be in agreement with one another. in agreement with one another. Here's the Lovers card. But the case is going forward. This will proceed. Okay. All right. Let's see. I think I had one more question here. Okay. The other question that I had is anonymous. You know, it might be almost a year ago now, that there was an op-ed written. And it was about all of the things that were going on in the White House, all of the nefarious things that were going on in the White House at that time. And this person, it was like an expose. It was one of the first exposés. And it was written by someone who had access, was either still a part of the White House staff or employee, or had just left but had access to what was going on. And this person, so there's always been this curiosity as to who Anonymous really is. And I believe back then he also, or he or she, I don't know whether it's he or she, mentioned that they would probably be revealing themselves prior to the election. But we haven't heard anything from Anonymous, at least not that we know of. So what I'd like to read on is whether or not Anonymous will come forward to reveal his identity before the election. So let's take that. Anonymous reveal his identity before the election. We're going to know who Anonymous is. Is he going to tell us who he is prior to the election? Let's see. Okay. Need to be with this for a little bit. So the first card that comes up as to where the situation is, let's see, still learning this. Okay, is the, okay, things are backwards on this, okay, there we go, we'll just do it right there. Is the Knight of Cups. And so what this says to me is that he is getting his ducks in a row. He is getting ready. He is planning, he or she, I have no idea if it's he or she, but this person is planning to do this, getting ready to do this. We only have, 49, 48 days left before the election. So there's a plan. There's a plan underway. Just getting things in row. Okay. The next card that I get is the Three of Wands. And this is very interesting. Because the energy of the Three of Wands is usually about support, a lot of times overseas. So it makes me wonder, and I think I've always wondered, and I think other people have always wondered, as to whether or not Anonymous is one person, or whether it's a group of people. And this card here makes it, it almost feels to me like uh, one, there maybe there are other people, or two, um, this Anonymous's timing or plan to reveal who Anonymous is um, needs to confer with outside sources. You know, this person's identity uh, could affect the safety and well-being of outside sources or people abroad, even in other countries. So it will be interesting, but so there's something about you know, needing to check in or leaning on outside sources. The next card that comes up is the Two of Coins. And this makes a lot of sense to me. The Two of Coins or Two of Pentacles is about weighing options. So I'm sure that if plans are underway and with the short time left between now and the election, there's a lot of things that are being weighed and considered right now. At the root of this reading, the core of this reading, is the Chariot. So Anonymous, yes, is wanting to do this, not hesitating, ready to do this, getting ready to do this, getting ready to take the responsibility, take the reins, and move forward on this. And the outcome of this reading is the Star. And the Star is about a lot of things. It's about hope. It's about communication. It's about being in the spotlight. It's about help and hopefulness. And interestingly enough, for readings that I have done on current events, and I know for other readers as well, oftentimes this card comes up as the United States is our country. And a lot of patriotism and honor and duty and that's how I think this will be viewed when Anonymous does come forward. What this tells me is, oh yeah, Anonymous is going to let us know who he or she is prior to the election. It will be interesting. I have my inklings, but you know, I mean, I would be guessing, but it will be interesting. And it will be big news. The other thing that I'm getting on this is that Anonymous is going to reveal him or herself close to the election. Close to the election. Probably will be an October surprise, but it will be close to the election. And it is going to turn things on its head for a little bit. So I think the timing here is waiting till to have an impact close to the election. So, okay. All right. So those are the few current events questions that had come up. So, and let me see. I'm not sure. Of course, you know, when I go off live, I may find that I was not looking in the right place, but I'm not seeing any requests here for individual tarot readings. So, okay. So maybe we'll do that another time. What I do want to do is I want to end with a message, a channeled message uh, that I received during a meditation. I asked for a channeled message for our viewers, and so I wrote it down, and I will read it to you. Dear one, the times we are living in, these times, though they may seem perilous, they are sacred times. You have been generous to choose to live at this time. Your soul, your energy has come to lift, to raise the energy in your world. Yours is a gift of love, of service, of divine generosity. And although you may not always be conscious of your soul's mission and work, when you place yourself in stillness and connection, you remember who you are and why you chose to be here at this time. Your presence, your energy is medicine for your world. In these momentous times, be vigilant of how you experience and express your energy. Be present always, so that your connection to the divine remains strong. In this manner, you will remember. Okay, so that was the message that I received from Spirit for you for today. Again, I'm not seeing any other comments or any other questions here. So I will end by saying thank you for joining me today, and we'll do this again soon. The next time we do this, I'll send out a post letting you know when the next broadcast will be, and then we can take a look to see if you have any questions, and we'll do a few more readings, maybe some current events, maybe something else. We'll see. But for now, have a lovely weekend, and as always, many blessings to you.